Hello, my name's Charles and welcome to ShopFreeMart's YouTube channel. Today we have an audio broadcast. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, click the subscribe button, and if you wish to be notified of upcoming audio broadcasts or videos, click the bell icon as well. So without further ado, let's listen to today's broadcast.
Well, going to go a little bit into how I got involved with ShopFreeMart here and everything. These calls are about getting your interest and giving you enough information that you want to know more or you decide to join us. Join us to find some products you want. Join us to find some products you want to share with other people. Join us to share the business opportunity. Join us and share the love. Well, I got that call. You all know that call from that one person. The person who reads every 32-page color newspaper that he gets in the mail and calls you up to ask you, will this be the key thing that's going to save my life? And usually those things have they have just a fairy dusting of ingredients in it. They're all hype, no substance, anything with that. But to convince this person who got this 32-page color brochure that this isn't the best thing in the world, it can take you hours sometimes with that. Well, I wasn't looking for anything. And my good old friend called me up because he found the next greatest business opportunity that I needed to sign up in underneath him, right? Okay? And we've been through this before. He called me and said it was an amazing opportunity and key people were joining that he knew. They're signing up. I looked at the products. No information was available online. Red flag number one. I looked at the compensation plan, and you had to sign up 5 new people with a product package, which was about $300 every month just to be active. I just laughed. It was so ridiculous. And that's a difficult thing for even professional network marketers to do consistently month after month after month after month. And you could tell it was all basically for a few people to make a lot of money front end and then drop and go on to the next thing. So the next opportunity was a new company with a product that I knew all about from another company. And I knew the science behind it. It had been created. I had actually created a good customer base with the old product before they changed the ingredients. And guess what? It didn't work as well when they changed the ingredients. I agreed to do a 3-way with his sponsor. He had actually signed up at that point. And after some conversation, he had me go to their new website. I told him that it was a beautiful landing page. It was gorgeous. But you can barely read any of the message that's on the page. It was a beautiful picture of a large metropolitan area at nighttime with all the lights and everything else. Yeah, great picture. Can't get any of the message, though. Then I looked at the compensation plan. It was the same identical, horrible compensation plan from the previous company. You would have thought someone would have learned something, but no, they just replicated what was there before. Then the sponsor told me about another company he signed up with. It was a new concept, a shopping club. There was no fee to join. There was no monthly auto ship. No purchase was even needed to earn a commission. That was the one I wanted to hear about and find out more about. And in my opinion, that was the opportunity. And guess what? That opportunity was ShopFreeMart. I got the link to the website. After my friend signed up, I got his link, and I read about the unique products and the benefits. And this is 3 years ago. We didn't have all the stuff that we have today, okay? But there are some really good products. The Thiaga, we had a water product, and we had the minerals. So I went to the link. I read about the unique products and the benefits that each of the products have. I checked out the compensation plan, and it was way better than the person had explained. This person had actually explained to me, well, you got to sign up 9 people as an ambassador, and 9 people with a product purchase in 45 days. You got to do that. Well, no, that wasn't a requirement. That's a great thing to do, but you didn't have to do that, okay? And I saw the opportunity when I looked at that, and I joined. And guess what? Then I saw that John Austin was the founder. And I knew John from another company 15 years before, and guess what? That made it even better because I knew him, I trusted him, I had seen how effective he was before in that other business. So that started me on the way with ShopFreeMart. I started sharing the products with an opportunity, mainly products. I do the demographics I'm in is basically all senior citizens, and they all, guess what, have health issues, and most of them are tied into the sickness care system, which puts them on a lot of pharmaceutical medications with a lot of other side effects. So I was already doing some meetings, as we call them clubs here, but it'd be health meetings on different topics. And so I had a foundation and a following of people who wanted to hear how to get healthier as opposed to how to deal with the sickness system that's out there at that point in time. So that market started to kick me off as people I would explain to people, but I'm very restricted. I can't just have a meeting on ShopFreeMart and the products. I had to have meetings on other topics, and I had to have flyers out there, and then people would ask me questions or people would contact me afterwards. So it was a moderate process, okay? It wasn't really fast, and it wasn't slow at all. So, but it was good, and I was helping people, and that's my key factor in life: is how can I help people? How can I help people get healthier? How can I help people get a little extra money so they can pay for their products? How can I help some people who really want to dig in to build a business, an effective large business, and get an effective large income on a monthly basis, and help more people do that along the way with that. So I had all those purposes in mind as I signed up with ShopFreeMart. And the key thing here is, as we went along, there were some changes, there were a few bumps in the road, but we glided through all of that, okay? And as they come up with new announcements, guess what? The new announcements are always, there's something better. There's another new product coming along, a change to the compensation plan. So things just kept getting better and better. One of the key things, I talked a little bit about this on Monday, but I want to talk about this a little bit more because it is a key factor. And the problem is dehydration. Dehydration is a key cause of hospitalization, disease, premature aging, and death. This is key. You know, I run into people at these meetings all the time who, they're intelligent people, but they end up in the hospital because they're dehydrated. Because, first of all, some people don't like to drink water. Some people are out drinking a lot of other things other than water that have caffeine in them, and they're actually diuretics. And when you're drinking things that act as a diuretic, you're actually urinating out more water than you're drinking. Okay, and one or two of those on a daily basis may not affect you that much, but if you're doing that all day long, you're going towards a long-term, day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month effect of dehydration in your body. And that can be focused and called and referred to as local dehydration in the body, which can end up then being the root cause of disease in those areas. And that was outlined in a book many, many years ago, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, and then the follow-up book, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. And we actually refer to that book in the website 200diseases.com, so it's www.200diseases.com, which Dr. Wheaton has put together for us that we can hand out as a gift to anyone, and a reference tool that will help them understand the real causes of disease and illness out there. And I offer some natural solutions that really work for all of those diseases and health issues that are back there. So one of the areas I'm going to refer you to, if you go to that website, not if, when you go to that website, you look down the table of contents on the left-hand side, and you will see water, and then you'll also see water cure, okay? So I want you to read about water. I want you to read about water cure, because one of the things that we always don't focus on all the time here, and we really need to, is that when we're drinking a lot of water on a daily basis, we need to add some electrolytes to that. And one of the key things that we can utilize as electrolytes is either Himalayan salt, okay, or Celtic salt. There's a couple other brands, Real Salt and Redmond Salt, that are available that John has mentioned before are very good sources out there at this point in time. You may see some news out there that talks about there's micro particles, nanoplastic particles that they're ending up with in some of the sea salts that are sold on the market out there. And that's generally due to the manufacturing practice that's being used to harvest those different salts. So, we are working, and the last I checked it wasn't there yet, but we will be having our own Celtic or Celtic salt available in our back office shortly. Tom had mentioned that last week, that the invoice had been sent in, and so we'll be having that probably in a week or two. We'll probably have that available. Now, that isn't going to be a product like a lot of our other products. That's going to be something that's just available for you to buy, because you can know and trust that it's a good source of what it is, and because it's so important, particularly when we bump up our water content that we're drinking on a daily basis. So you'll find out under water and water cures there that the recommendation there is to add basically 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, Himalayan salt. This isn't table salt. This will be, I'm just going to say Himalayan salt, but know that all the other ones apply there, for every 16 ounces of water you drink, okay, on a daily basis. And this, again, is so you get the mineral content from that, but you also, along with that, you will also get the electrolytes that you need to keep your system balanced. And I'm going to tell you how important this is. I learned about this back in probably about 1980 or so. I had a tenant, and I hadn't seen her in a while when I was going on, checking on the building, working around the building. So when all of a sudden I ran into her one day, and she said, you know what happened to me? I said, no. And she goes, I ended up in the hospital. And she's a very healthy person. I said, what happened? Well, I went on a salt-free diet. And within several days, I felt like I was having a heart attack. I ended up in the hospital, and they said my electrolytes were so low that my heart wasn't functioning properly, and I could have died from that. Well, I'll tell you what a lesson that was, because you have to go back and think in that era of time. They were talking about how important it was to get the salt out of your diet, and you'll be able to read about that in 200 Diseases. But basically the testing that all had been done in it wasn't good testing, and it was basically assumptions that were made that when they were looking at some people who had a high salt, and again, this is table salt content, okay, and it's salt that when people were cooking or you're going out for eating fast food, that's all bad salt that's generally in that. Now, sodium is not good salt, okay? So they looked at that and said, well, this is this is highly related to those people with high blood pressure. Well, guess what they ignored? Same thing as they ignored when they talked about heart disease and obesity and diabetes, as sugar. Those same people that were eating salt, well, guess what? They were probably eating a lot of sugar, too, when we know today that sugar is virtually like a poison to our system. Yeah, you can have a little bit now and then, but for the most part out there, people are actually sugar addicts, okay? And they crave sugar because the biome has been built up in such a way that we actually have more non-human DNA in our stomach biome than we have human DNA in our body. And those are all little bacteria and things that are good stuff and bad ones, but there's ones that are basically craving sugar in there. And they will crave sugar so bad that they'll drive your brain to look for and seek out sugar so that it can feed them. And actually, when you back off from sugar, they'll start sending messages to your brain that you really want sugar. You don't really want to cut back on sugar. You're hungry and you're craving sugar. So, they've actually, in fact, I'm doing a program the next week here coming up on that, talking about the brain and how it's connected to the biome, to the colon and the stomach and all the whole biome there. And they've often talked about that being the second brain. Well, it's looking like more often that is actually more like the first brain that's actually having a control on our brain that's in our head about how we think, how we feel, and what we desire in life. So I want you to start considering to add and starting to add some of that Himalayan salt, one form or the other here, into some of the water. Now, you're going to find some people don't like the taste of water. Okay, well, you put a little salt in it and they'll like it. Some people will, some people won't. But find a way, if you're drinking a lot of water, and that's like 8 glasses a day or more, that you're going to need to replace some of those electrolytes. Now, as your summer is here, it's hot out, you're working outside, you're playing outside, you're running around with the kids, you're playing sports, you're going to be perspiring even more. Just standing still, you're going to be perspiring more. And every breath you take, when you exhale moisture. If you remember the old movies, when people, they would have a body laying someplace, they'd basically look and see if they could fog a mirror, right? And that's because the moisture in the breath coming out would fog a mirror. They could tell they were breathing, even if they're breathing at a low level with everything. So we're losing moisture out of our body with every breath we take, not just with perspiration and not just urinating and everything else. Now, we do get a lot of moisture, and if we're properly eating a lot of vegetables and fruits during the day, and I always push, as well as my wife highly suggests, that you do organic as much as you can. And the reason is because of all the herbicides and pesticides that are all on all of the non-organic vegetables out there, just create another problem where we have more toxins in our body. And guess what? To get the toxins out, we've got some great products to help get them out of the body, but also now you got to be drinking more water to flush those out of every cell, tissue, and organ in the body. So that's basically where we want to go. Keep in mind, again, leading cause of hospitalization is dehydration. Have some water with you at all times when you're going out. Do not leave the bottled water in a hot car. That is not a good idea. If you're going someplace, carry it in with you, or carry a small cooler with an ice pack in there to keep it cool with that. But definitely keep yourself hydrated. The water carries nutrition into the cell. So if the water doesn't get inside of your cell, neither do the vitamins and minerals. Now, that's a supplement, but it's also from all the food that you're eating. And the water bathes the interior of the cell, removing byproducts of cell metabolism and other toxic waste. So it's naturally flushing out every cell, tissue, and organ in the body, which also, because it's helping you get rid of the acid waste from the cells, tissues, and organs, basically naturally gets you to a neutral pH as opposed to forcing it by drinking a high pH water. I've read a lot of articles basically, and we've had a number of doctors who have suggested that the high pH water, unless you're dealing with something like cancer, you should only have a couple glasses a day because the stomach is acidic. And that is what's utilized to process and break down most of your food into a slurry before it passes into the colon. So if you're flooding that with too much high pH water, they can actually throw that off with all of with that. We don't want to do that. A dehydrated brain becomes forgetful, which often becomes more apparent with age. I don't want that. I don't know about you. I put myself on the edge out here in these meetings all the time to not only be presenting materials or having videos of materials, but also being able to note high points and also answer everyone's questions who come up during that meeting. So I know the course that I'm on to be healthy and that Joy's on and that we promote to people here with all of that. But it's, that's just, that's where we're coming from. And people know that. When people are new to the meeting, they find out that we're primarily talking about eating healthy, doing some exercise, getting some sunshine, okay, and trying to keep as many of the toxins out of the body as you can, and the ones that get in there to flush them out. So good health, youthful appearance, and good memory all depend upon good hydration. And the solution for dehydration is, guess what? Treat your filtered or distilled water with hydration drops. A primary benefit of hydration drops is its ability to promote an exceptional level of intercellular hydration. And one bottle enhances 198 gallons. You use 6 drops per gallon, or if you're using bottled water or small containers, 1 drop per bottle or 1 drop per glass of water that you're using with that. We have the opportunity here with hydration drops to get out, share the love, help people stay out of the hospital from being dehydrated, but most of all, to help them have a healthier body. Because if you can imagine each cell in your body being going through, basically being like a nice juicy grape versus a raisin, which do you want? Feeding your organs in your body and feeding your skin with all of that to help with all of that. Justina, I'm going to switch over here so we can go to Q&A.
Okay, we are open for Q&A. If you have any questions or would like to share a testimonial, go ahead and do so now.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some of your stories. And remember, we have a lot of new people who are coming on the call, so feel free to give us a brief overview of one of your testimonials. Go ahead, Justina.
Okay, and we have our first caller is 6701.
Hello. Good morning to everyone. This is Michael in Texas. I have a comment and a testimony. And the comment is, ShopFreeMart, if you're a marketer and you've been doing this for a while, ShopFreeMart is like night and day. I mean, it's so refreshing, and you will absolutely notice the difference from all the other ropes and things you have to jump through with most other companies. Totally different. I love the down-to-earth, no hype, approach, and people are honest, and you can hear it in their spirit, and they're just telling you what works for them. So that's what I love about that. The other thing is in reference to the product, I love the Vitalize. So I do a lot of construction work, and during the day I have no problem. My legs don't bother me or any other organ or anything is not bothering me. So I lately my right knee was bothering me at night. I mean, it would just give me pain if I'm sitting down or laying down, and I would try to move my leg in so many different ways. I was out of my Vitalize. So last week, got the Vitalize, started taking it only like 2 a day or, a little bit more sometimes. And after about 4 or 5 days, absolutely no pain in my leg at night. During the day, I never had a problem, but no problem in my leg. This morning doing squats, and going all the way down, not having any problem. So that was amazing. And, I mean, the Vitalize, I just can't say enough about it. So to me, it's a lifesaver. The energy you get from it, the clarity you get from it in your brain. I mean, that product is absolutely amazing. The endurance, everything. So that's my testimony on the Vitalize. If you haven't tried it, order something today.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much for sharing
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay. Next caller, 1753.
Yeah, this is Daryl in Colorado.
Hello, Daryl.
Everybody. Yep. My most recent testimony I want to give is on the silver. I had a mole on the back of my arm, and it was kind of a dark color, maybe half the size of a dime. And I took a cotton swab, soaked it with some silver, and put a Band-Aid over it, and did that a couple of times, and it started to change color right away. So then I have a little spray bottle that I use. It's a 2-ounce bottle, and I put 50 drops of silver in it, and it's just a little spritzer bottle that I got at the Dollar Tree. And I just kept spraying that mole like 4, 5, 6 times a day, and in a month's time now it's gone. It's completely gone. I showed my wife the other day, and she's like, wow, I'm going to try that on some of my moles. I said, yeah, why don't you? It works. So that's my testimony on the silver. I got 1,000 other testimonies, but I just don't want to take up too much time, and I'll give some more later on.
Thank you so
Daryl.
much for sharing that with us.